You're here with the Mouse Vibes, and we're back with another Halloween Horror Night update for Universal Studios Hollywood.
Yes! Yes!
Gotcha.
We're exactly 1 month away from the opening night, and this is definitely our biggest update yet.
All right, Peter? Who's you right, Raymond? Is he right?
Yo!
So let's take a look at the 7 houses announced, all the updates from Midsummer Scream, and we're gonna go over all 3 scare zones.
You don't think I can handle danger? I totally can.
But first, let's head over to the Parisian Courtyard, where we got our first reveal of the Monstros II facade.
Hope you guys have hobo stab insurance.
Okay, this is absolutely insane. First reactions of seeing Monstros 2, this thing is scary as hell.
But y'all don't say that.
So construction on this house started back in April, and over the last 4 months, we've watched this space transform in front of our eyes.
I'll be completely honest, I was not expecting to get this facade reveal today. Monstros 2 is definitely one of our most anticipated houses for 2024. The fact that we're getting a sequel to the best house of last year, yes please.
And just like last year, this house will be split up into 3 separate sections to represent the 3 legends of Monstros II, in El Charro, El Cadejo, and the boogeyman El Cucuy.
No, that's not the boogeyman. It's a homicidal killer.
With the walls down, we get our first good look at what this house really looks like, and it's really giving off gothic cemetery vibes. Even on the right side is set up with an ofrenda with offerings and remembrances to loved ones, except I'm not really sure how to explain this at all.
There's dolls hanging from a tree over here.
Okay, I was scared before, but now I'm freaked out. Why are there dolls in trees?
So last year they had the gravedigger out front greeting in guests, and it looks like this year we have 2 little door holes right next to the main entrance. It'd be awesome if we got character moments right away just like last year. Comment down below and let me know what characters do you think are gonna be out front greeting in guests.
But judging just by the key art, it looks like the gravedigger is coming back, and he'll act as the narrator through this house experience.
I love show business.
Not only are we getting this house here, but the scare zone's already been announced at Midsummer Scream.
Should we announce the scare zone? This is one of the craziest ideas I've ever heard for a scare zone, but I dig it.
We're getting a Luchadors vs. Monsters scare zone over here in the Parisian Courtyard off of French Street, and then right over here behind us over at the Universal Plaza. That'll all be absorbed into one massive area. Right now they're still celebrating the 60th anniversary here in the plaza, but that'll end on August 11th. So starting August 12th, they'll be transforming not only the Universal Plaza, but the Studio Tram Tour as well.
Speaking of the Studio Tram Tour, there's been no official theming announced just yet for this year's event, but we've been hearing rumors all year long about Blumhouse taking over the Terror Tram. And while we're huge fans of Larry Larva, I wouldn't mind a switch up. It would be really awesome if we got theming to some of the newer Blumhouse movies like Black Phone and Megan. But comment down below and let me know what you want to see come to the Terror Tram. We shouldn't expect any official announcement until after the 60th celebration on August 11th.
So directly behind me is the exit for the Monstros 2 house, and that spits you onto French Street. This area is going to be another scare zone this year, and this is going to be the Luchador versus the Monsters scare zone. It's basically 2 Luchadors up against every single spooky monster possible, which kind of sounds awesome, maybe the best scare zone ever. But as I'm giving this update, my guy Peter just let me know that there's actually a 4th scare zone coming to Halloween Horror Nights. He's my roving reporter. Without you, I couldn't make this update possible. Hold on to your pants, guys. It's called Skull Lords. Just what we needed in 2024, Skull Lords. John Murdy is really committed to the Z's at the end of every scare zone.
Z.
And a little bit of me is kind of upset that we're getting Skull Lords, but the other part of me is like, man, this guy's really doubling down, and I respect that just a little bit. Might be annoying, but he's committed to the Z's.
Those are Z's.
And while there's no official location for the Skull Lord Scare Zone, I'm pretty confident this is gonna go in the New York section of the park. It feels like it fits in perfect. The other 2 scare zones are gonna be Chainsaw Punks, which is gonna be punks basically with chainsaws.
But it's not just a clever name.
This will be located in the entrance of the park. And the last scare zone is called the Murder of Crows. And this is exactly what it sounds like. It's a murder of crows on stilts. In A Midsummer Scream, John Murdy teased that a Mother Crow sculpt would be coming to Halloween Horror Nights.
Note to self. Oh, God, you're not supposed to see that. I'm sorry.
They did have a murder of crows roaming around the park at last year's event, so I'm wondering if this is going to be the same type of thing. Comment down below, do you think the murder of crows will be roaming this year?
I didn't ask, why wouldn't they be?
I didn't say I was scared.
I didn't say you were scared. I know.
And the other house on the upper lot is For a Quiet Place. This is going to be located right next to Monstros II in the former Walking Dead attraction. This was the first house announced for Halloween Horror Nights 2024, and we have a full video going over all the details. Next, we're gonna make our way down to the lower lot. This is where 4 of the 8 houses will be for this year's event. The first house that was announced was Dead Exposure Death Valley. This is part of the Dead Exposure series that we've seen a couple times at HHN Orlando. So this will be the very first time Dead Exposure will be here in Hollywood.
Happy Halloween, we got a first timer out here.
And the story for this house is super creepy. It takes place in Death Valley, California, in the middle of the desert, where government testing is taking place to create the perfect super soldier.
Holy bejesus.
Kinda sounds like Captain America, right?
I knew it.
Except in this story, they're pumping up the soldiers with radioactive fluids, which actually turns them into zombies. Oh, this was cool. We finally figured out how you're gonna enter into the Dead Exposure house. It looks like you're gonna enter through this gate that's right in between the crash van and this booth. This definitely feels like we're gonna get some type of acting or scare moment right off the bat. Moving on, let's talk about the house located right behind Soundstage 15 in the T-Pad tent. It was just announced at Midsummer Scream that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre would be making a return to Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre has been at Halloween Horror Nights a bunch of times throughout the years, most recently in 2021. But this time around, they're celebrating the 50-year anniversary. But instead of going back to the original film, they came up with a brand new story idea.
Why don't you take a multiverse approach to this classic franchise? And I went, yes, let's do that. That's awesome.
So they decided to combine all 9 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies into one house. So there's gonna be 9 different Leatherfaces running around, so you better hold on to your butts.
I'm afraid! Alright? You wanna hear me say it? You wanna break me down? Alright, I'm afraid!
My favorite detail about this house is actually the Easter egg out front, where they named the meatpacking plant Hooper and Henkel's Meat Processing. This is a tip of the hat to the co-creators of the original film, Toby Hooper and Kim Henkel.
That was genius, Lloyd. Sheer genius. That was a good one.
So next, let's talk about the Universal Monsters house, Eternal Bloodlines. This is a house that you're going to be able to find on both coasts at Universal Orlando and Hollywood. And Halloween Horror Nights has a long-running tradition of bringing these Universal monsters to the event. And every single year, they're some of our favorite houses. This year's storyline is called Eternal Bloodlines, and the synopsis reads, join Saskia Van Helsing and the Bride of Frankenstein as they face off against Dracula's daughter and her monstrous alliance.
All right, now that we all agree that we're dealing with vampires, what do we know about vampires?
This is the very first time they've had an all-female cast for Universal Monsters.
This is the first time we've ever done a completely female-centric take on the Universal Monsters, using characters that are rooted in our film history.
That story sounds awesome, but the best part here in Hollywood is that this house will be located in the iconic Stage 12. This is the oldest soundstage at Universal Studios and one of the largest in the world. But what makes this soundstage iconic is that this is the soundstage the original Universal monster films were shot in. It was the interior of Dracula's castle in Dracula.
I am Dracula.
It was the laboratory in Frankenstein in The Bride of Frankenstein.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
And since then, it's housed some of our favorite movies. It was the interior of Tony Montana's mansion in Scarface.
Say hello to my little friend!
Doc Brown's house from
Back to the future!
the Visitor Center in Jurassic Park. The interior of Whipstaff Manor in Casper.
Not bad for my first party, huh?
It was Whoville and How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
That worked out nicely.
And most recently, it was the home to The Voice for 17 seasons. This will be the very first time I've ever been in Soundstage 12. And this might be the thing I'm looking most forward to. The only thing I'm kind of worried about though is how we're gonna get there. I'm guessing they're gonna use the extended queue for the Jurassic World ride. But you still have to cross this tram path in order to get there. So I can see us going through here, stopping the tram, of course, going across the street,
and then going into Soundstage 12.
Comment down below, do you think that we're gonna use the space for Jurassic World to access Soundstage 12?
Yeah.
So the last house on the lower lot hasn't been announced just yet, and we're assuming this is gonna go inside Soundstage 15, which was home to Stranger Things 4 last year. But we've been hearing all year long that the artist The Weeknd could be making his return back to Halloween Horror Nights. But this time around, it would be in celebration of his next record, Dawn FM. Comment down below and let me know what you think about The Weeknd coming back to Halloween Horror Nights. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Or is it not scary enough?
The Weeknd and his entire team are amazing. Shout out to Horror Nights. I loved it so much.
And the last two houses for this year's event will both be located at the Curious George parking lot. Starting with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It says, an ancient artifact has released a chilling new entity, Garaka. He'll stop you cold. Only the Ghostbusters can keep you from getting iced. Halloween Horror Nights also released an announcement video on their YouTube, and it didn't really have any clues. It just showed this girl getting frozen and her auntie coming out with a proton pack.
You picked the wrong neighborhood!
Which I need to ask, where did she get that?
Don't talk to me. Talk to my attorney.
That's me!
The Ghostbusters house will be located in the tent on the left-hand side. And you're not really able to film anything over in the Curious George parking lot. At the end of last season, Universal installed these metal barriers that look like they were built for The Walking Dead.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you should get it welded better in the corners.
But now you can't see into the lot at all. But a couple of weeks ago, HHN365 posted this photo of the facade for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and it revealed to be Ray's Occult Books. This is kind of a deep cut. Ray's Occult Books has been featured in the last 3 Ghostbuster films, making its first appearance in Ghostbusters 2,
300 eyewitnesses.
My best to the coven.
and it's been featured in the last 2 Ghostbusters movies.
Raise a cult and we're closed.
But Ray's Occult Books is essentially an oddity store. Not only is he selling things, but he's also buying weird, creepy items.
You the weird guy who buys strange old things?
Yeah, correct on both counts.
And this is essentially how Garaka gets let out in Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Off the chart telekinetic energy. Full bore convective spatter.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
So if I had to guess, the first scene, Garaka's gonna escape just like in the movie. And it'll be up to the Ghostbusters to get us out of this Frozen Empire.
Let's try this. Light 'em up!
In the last and final house is Insidious the Further. This is by far the most terrifying of any of the houses on this year's lineup. The Insidious films have 5 different movies to pick from, and if we face off against the red-faced demon, I might shiz my pants.
Oh, that was the grossest thing I've ever heard in my life. Let's go!
It's almost certain we should tiptoe through the tulips. And if that scene comes to life, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make that.
Alright, and that's gonna wrap up our update for Halloween Horror Nights here at Universal Studios Hollywood. We showed you the current construction status on all the mazes here and what to look forward to on your next visit. We're only a month away from Halloween Horror Nights and I couldn't be more excited. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. It really helps us grow, and if not, thanks for stopping by.